violating every rule of audio recording. The windows to the Yellow Studio and the doors of the Yellow Studio are wide open. The chirping and the various sounds that you hear emanating from right outside the windows of the Yellow Studio, which, yes, they are open. We are in post-storm DFW. Big storm rolled through late yesterday afternoon and early evening. Went so far north as Cincinnati, Nashville. Friends in those parts of the country report tornado watches. We had it here. We had hail. We had strong wind, and it's cool outside now. Yesterday it was like 95 in April already, but today it's about mid-60s, and so that's why things are open, and that's why the sound is not probably as, well, it's not as stellar as it should be, and I don't care. Randy Cantrell here, leaningtowardwisdom.com is the website. Came across a phrase, actually it was a question yesterday, and it struck me really funny. I did kind of laugh out loud a little bit. I was alone. Anybody know anything I don't? Anybody know anything I don't? I thought I'm going to start a presentation that way. I don't know what presentation, but I'm gonna work that into a presentation, and that's going to be my opening salvo. And I'll probably have both arms up in the air like this, like, you know, what's the deal? Anybody know anything I don't? I began to think about that, and here's the context that I started to think about it. I started to think about groups of people, tribes, if you please, and how they view learning, how they view anybody being able to teach them anything. And one of the first things that I thought about was just our propensity to copy, our propensity to be copycats. Just this week, 2 news items kind of enter this realm of thinking. One, Paul Allen has kind of made the news a bit. He was on 60 Minutes on Sunday, but he's basically come out and made the statement that Microsoft, one of the business models of Microsoft was to basically copy the best technology out there and make it their own. Now, you can argue the validity of that. I'm not reporting things as fact. I'm just reporting the occurrences of this week. The second thing is Apple filed suit against Samsung. In the suit, so it's been reported, they claim that Samsung has stolen the look and feel of the iPhone and the iPad. I suppose a court will decide if that's true or not, but again, this whole thing of copying things. For a number of years, I have sat across business owners and sometimes encouraged business owners to look outside their industry. Industries tend to kind of hunker down and kind of put their arms around each other and form this kind of a closed society. Some are tougher at it than others. Some are more prone to that than others. And to sit and encourage an owner who's got other friends around the country who are in the same industry, and they all read the same trade magazines, they're all reading the same books, they're all listening to the same people, they are all members of the same industry-related associations. To get them to look outside their industry can sometimes be really, really tough because, well, they kind of have this attitude. Anybody know anything I don't? Oh, no? Okay. Oh, it's pompous, or no question. It's pompous and it's arrogant. It is kind of funny. And there are pompous and arrogant people who believe that. Now, they won't say it that way. I would probably have more respect for them if they did. I would certainly find them far more humorous if they would just blurt that out. Oh, do you know something I don't? Anybody know anything I don't know? I've long argued, and this was prior to Tweedledee and Tweedledum, I'm the smartest man in the room when I'm by myself. Well, there is an exception. I'm the smartest male in the room when Rocky the Wonder Dog is here. You know, I open the windows, I open the door, I got fans blowing. I mean, I've got all kinds of racket. And Rocky's usually in here when I'm not recording, and I don't run him out. I mean, he's usually laying right here to my left, snoring his head off. And Rosie's usually over here to my right. She doesn't snore. She may wheeze every now and then, and Rocky's not here. Here I am, not worried about noise today, and Rocky leaves the room. Well, when Rocky the Wonder Dog is here, when he and I are in the room together, I'm smarter. I'm smart. Hey, he's a pretty boy, but he's not real smart. Various industries get really protective and get really kind of hunkered down, believing that nope, you just couldn't possibly tell me something that I don't already know because you're not in my industry, you're not in my space. Now, I'm violating that rule big time, because I'm taking 3 decades plus of C-level business experience and adapting that to the field of education. Oh, it's not for everybody, no question. I'm not trying to please everybody. I'm not trying to solve all the world's problems. I just happen to have a strong conviction and belief that many of the things that I have learned over the course of being in business, most notably, it's people. It's just people. It has always been about teaching and inspiring and encouraging people, helping people, coaching people, getting greater performance, higher human performance out of people. Doesn't matter if they're in sales. It doesn't matter if they're in marketing. It doesn't matter if they're in logistics. It doesn't matter if they're in distribution. It doesn't matter if they're in accounting. Business is about helping people perform at the highest level so our businesses can be successful. And our businesses can't be successful if the people who work in our businesses aren't successful. Show me a business that has unsuccessful people dominating the field of play, and I'll show you a business that's not going to make it. Eventually, they're going to fail. I don't care how great their stuff is. If the people are terrible, if their performance is terrible, the business will be terrible. That has application across broad sectors. When you sit across from a business owner and you try to convince them, look outside your industry, because you may find some creativity and you may find some innovation there. You know, it's like the student who wants to cheat. It's just easier to copy. I don't have to study. I don't have to think. I don't have to read. I don't have to make application. I just have to copy. Now, way back when Honda motor cars entered the world, and we all knew Honda as the motorcycle guys, but I'm old enough to remember when Honda motor cars first came on the scene. And when the Honda Accord came out, a game changer. And of course, it took off like a rocket, became the top selling car in its class. And guess what happened? All of a sudden, a lot of cars began to hit the road, and guess what they looked like? Well, they looked just like Honda Accords, of course. Why? Well, if you're going to copy a bestseller, that's for sure. So that part of it was innovative and smart. But what if you were to be more creative? What if you were to really, and I know we all hate it, but you know, what if, dare say, we think outside the box? What if we do color outside the lines? What if we try to morph and adapt and think and apply? It's what I'm all about. It's what I'm all about. Now, as a business person, I can tell you that I have long looked in many, many places for wisdom, for collective knowledge, for inspiration, for education, for training. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's a psychology professor who can teach me something about human nature, human behavior, what motivates people, what drives people. I don't care if it's somebody talking about marketing, which is directly in the wheelhouse of business. I mean, how do we put our best foot forward? How do we get people to buy in? How do we help people establish trust in us? How do we become more likable? I don't care if it's somebody who's, hardcore into statistical information. Are there measurements that are meaningful and that can show us some insight into performance and into people? The world is full of some bright people. The world is full of resources that if we would just open up our minds and consider that there are vast areas of human endeavor that can have broader application than maybe we first think when we just glance at them, then we might all learn a thing or two, and we might be able to lean more toward wisdom. So, pick up a book that has not one thing to do with the space that you're in. Pick up something. Pick up a magazine the next time you're at a bookstore, before they all close, and read about something that you've never read before. And I promise you, you will be surprised at how your mind will begin to make connections, and you'll begin to see things in the context as they apply to you. And there's huge value in that. There's huge benefit in that. I believe in that, else I wouldn't have embarked on this adventure and this venture. So it's what I hope to do, and I want to encourage you to expand your field of vision. Anybody know anything I don't? Well, there's millions of you out there that have your hand in the air. And you know what? That's a good thing for me, because that makes me smarter. The fact that you're willing to share what you know makes me smarter and better. And I hope in some small way that what I share can make you smarter and better too. The website is leaningtowardwisdom.com. My name is Randy Cantrell from a cool, breezy Dallas, Texas. See ya.